All right, so this is for Captain Obvious. Captain Obvious says Captain Obvious says that, you know, these mega pastors, these mega preachers, they're stealing money, and how dare you take all this money and be living these glorious and amazing lives. You have these mansions, nice cars, you have these private planes. That's what Captain Obvious says. Now, I'm going to challenge your way of thinking. That's what I want to do. I want to challenge your way of thinking. I personally do not believe that mega pastors, well, let me say this. I don't believe that mega pastors and mega preachers are stealing money from the church any more than I believe that a small pastor is stealing money from their church. Now, with that being said, I will say this. Again, I don't believe that mega pastors and mega preachers are stealing money from the church. Just because you have a big church, a large congregation, and you have a nice house and a nice car, doesn't mean that you're stealing money from the church. And doesn't even mean that your money is coming from the church. Because remember, a lot of these mega churches, they have people that they have to pay, right? They have mortgages, they have insurance fees that they have to pay, they have tons of employees that they have to pay, right? But then when you go to those that are visible, like those of the mega pastors and preachers that we can see in the public eye, I'm talking about the Billy Grahams, I'm talking about the Bishop Jakes, I'm talking about the Creflo Dollar, I'm talking about the Joel Osteen, I'm talking about the Joyce Meyers. All right, these are individuals that have ministries, but they also have a large business life as well. Right? I mean, most of them, in many cases, they have books. They're in the production. They have music. They have movies, some of them. Right? A lot of them are National Times bestsellers. And they have other businesses. They have real estate and properties that they've invested in. And I'm pretty sure most of them probably take very little. It's kind of like, if you guys remember, any sports fans, sometimes you could take like a Michael Jordan, for example, because some of you guys just don't get it, right? You think just because mega pastor, mega preacher, they're getting all this money from the church. But that would be like saying that most of these athletes are getting most of their money from their salary. But most of their money, like their salary really doesn't mean much at all. It's the endorsements that they're really making the big money. Go back and check someone like a Michael Jordan's salary, most of his career, was one of the smallest salaries on the team, except for like his last year on the Bulls. I think they gave him like $25 million. But the whole other time, he was like one of the least paid players on the team, as far as salary is concerned. But endorsements, he was making hundreds of millions of dollars. So let's get back to the mega pastors and the mega preachers. Again, I said that I don't believe that the mega pastors and mega preachers are stealing any more money from their church as some of the smaller pastors and preachers are. So how do you feel about that? I mean, is it better? Like, honestly, do you feel, let's say, if mega pastors and mega preachers are stealing all this money and, you know, living these lavish lives because of the church, you honestly believe that none of the smaller churches and smaller pastors are stealing money? I mean, it seems a lot easier for a smaller pastor, a smaller preacher to steal money than it is a mega church pastor. You see what I'm saying? So I just wanted to challenge you guys, because sometimes we get so off track and we're not thinking, because all we're thinking about is the obvious. And that's why I say you guys are Captain Obvious, right? That's like giving a homeless person money, what you're doing by saying these mega pastors, mega preachers, they're stealing the money from the congregation, and you're ignoring what most churches are small, right? I could name you about 5 churches that I know of in New Jersey, very small churches, and the pastor has a Bentley, right? The pastor has these nice houses, but he got a very, very small church. And he probably don't get no heat at all. Nobody's worried. He's under the radar. Right? He's totally probably under the radar. Nobody's thinking he's stealing this money. Why? Because he doesn't have thousands of people coming to his church every day, so nobody pays attention. So don't just concern, if you're going to think about it, don't just concern yourself with what the mega pastors, these small ones is probably doing the same exact thing you think the mega church pastors is doing. And I know it's not a conversation we like to talk about. It's one of those conversations we just want to speak our mind and we don't want a response back for. All right, nope, that's it. Nope, why do they need a jet? Why do they need this nice house? Well, anybody who knows the Bible knows that you're supposed to, like, the pastor is the person that's supposed, like, that should be our inspiration. Like, we want them to be buying expensive things in that nature, so we know that this is real. Like, they bring in what's in the Bible to life, like, for real. I mean, that's just my opinion on it. I get excited when I see the pastor or the leader of the church actually prospering outside of what's happening in the church. Now, if you took a mega pastor or a mega preacher and they're not doing nothing else but preaching, and they're living in this lavish house, nice cars, and be able to travel and do all that, then that's an issue. Right? That's an issue. But if you got someone like I said before, like a Joel Osteen or a Bishop Jakes, where they have movie production companies and they're big national seller books. I mean, just come on, just think a little bit, right? Just shift your thinking. It makes total sense. What else did I want to say about this? I wanted to say, mega pastors, mega preachers. I think that's all I really wanted to say. Keep your focus where it's supposed to be. Right? Keep your focus where it's supposed to be. If somebody is stealing your money, you don't have the time to follow and see that. That would be like giving a homeless person $5 and then following that person the whole day to see what they're going to do with your $5. Right? I want to know, like, I know your normal way of thinking is supposed to be, well, no, they have these nice things, so that's just what they're doing, and that's how they're getting it. But put things in perspective, right? They're doing other things outside of the church, which allows them to prosper. And like I said before, in most cases, I'm pretty sure they don't need the money from that they're making probably on salary at the church. Like, I'll tell you this, I went to this thing. It was a program. I was working, doing some media video work I went to this conference for it was CCFM, if I remember correctly, and it was in South Carolina or North Carolina. And Bishop Jakes was one of the speakers there, right? I think I shared this story before because I've never seen anything like this before. Bishop Jakes was the last speaker of this conference. It was like a 5-day or 3-day conference. And Bishop Jakes, he literally raised, he inspired people to give $120,000 to this conference. Like, just regular people sitting in the congregation. He literally had, it was about 80 people. I mean, there was hundreds of people there, but he had 80 people that he raised $120,000. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Like, in my face, people were just coming up like, this is with $10,000, $15,000, $5,000, $3,000. And when they tallied it all up, it was $120,000. Now, you can say whatever you want to say, but that didn't go to him. Just think, He just created $120,000 in a few minutes for a cause that he had nothing to do with. Now, to you, you may say, well, that money is going to this place. Well, I'm thinking skills, talent, ability, faith, right? I'm thinking all of those things. By $120,000, you know how many times I've been to a church and the pastor or the leader of the church is trying to raise money or try to get the congregation to put more money in the pot, and they're not doing it for whatever the reason, it's not happening? There's a difference between these mega pastors and preachers. There's a skill, there's an anointing, there's something there that's intangible that has nothing to do with them stealing money or having a greed for money. I mean, right now, I'm pretty sure you could take, I'm telling you, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this happen before, but that was my first time. It happened maybe less than 6 months ago. $120,000 from people who wasn't planning to put in $120,000. And you guys, some of you want to bash and beat these type of people down. Like, you know what that $120,000 did for those people? I mean, that really helped out a lot of people. I mean, you bash these people. If these people were to just stop and just live off the money that they've created through other avenues outside of their church, I mean, a lot of us would be lost. I mean, these people, I mean, I believe pastors and preachers are just as important to our society as, like, school teachers. Right? But you have to see the big picture. If you believe that these mega church pastors is stealing the church's money, you should also believe that these small church pastors and preachers are stealing your money. But don't just overlook the small pastors and preachers just because they have a small church and just automatically focus in on the people who have these big churches. Because I tell you this, the people who have the small churches and the small preachers, they don't have much going on outside of what's happening in that church every week, financially. But if you look at a lot of the mega churches, you'll see they have other things that are going on financially that's bringing in revenue for them, for their personal life. All right, I know this is a topic that many of you probably feel uncomfortable about. Again, I'm fully aware that most of you just want to say they're stealing money, but you don't want to put any logic behind it. I'm not saying that they're not stealing money. Anybody has an opportunity to steal anybody's money. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in most cases, they're not. And even in most cases, I just don't like to think that way. But when I keep hearing a thing, then sometimes I like to address it, give my thoughts on it, just to clear things up so you guys know where I stand. This is your boy, Billionaire Brown. Check me out on my YouTube, youtube.com/Billionaire Brown online. Have an amazing day, guys.
Hey, Ma! I'm on TV!